Tank Girl is one of those movies that made pretty much no money. Everybody who worked on it remembers it as being a miserable experience, and the critics absolutely hated it. But it has a cult following. People who just like it for what it is, and find it to not only be not that bad, but actually pretty good. I'm definitely one of those people. Tank Girl was an underground comic about a girl living in a post-apocalyptic world where water was very scarce, and a megacorporation controlled everything, which she battled against in her trusty tank. The movie is about exactly that. Tank Girl was played by the 90s version of Lori Petty back when we hadn't yet figured out whether or not she's attractive. Well, she really isn't, but for some reason, she looked good in this movie. The Tank Girl in this is Rebecca, who is part of a rebellion against water and power. But one day their base is raided and everybody is either killed or captured. Rebecca is offered a job with water and power, but refuses, and they try torturing her, but eventually she escapes with young Naomi Watts, or Jet Girl. They find out that a little girl that was Tank Girl's friend was captured by water and power, so they decide to go rescue her. They find out she's being held at a brothel where she's trying to avoid being diddled by Iggy Pop. I'm not making this up. Iggy Pop playing a pedophile. Why am I thinking that was not a huge stretch for him? Anyway, they rescue the girl, but then water and power raids the place and recaptures her. Tank Girl and Jet Girl, yes, that's what they call Naomi Campbell's character, decide that they need the Ripper's help to attack water and power. And near the beginning of the movie, characters in the movie talk about the Rippers as if they're predators, silent, mostly invisible killing machines. When they find their lair under a desert, you see that the Rippers are basically Teenage Mutant Ninja Kangaroos, with the personalities to boot, but they're highly amusing, especially Reggie Cathy as DT and Ice-T as T-Saint. It takes some time to gain the Ripper's trust before they make one final attack on water and power, and the main villain, Kessler, as played by Malcolm McDowell, who is clearly having fun hamming it up. A few scenes in the movie are animated, using an art style similar to the Tank Girl comics, which I think it works pretty well, even if it was done because the director literally forgot to shoot those scenes. It adds to the movie's attitude. Tank Girl was an underground comic. Underground comics are known for being quirky, offbeat, and subversive, and not following any particular rules. The movie basically follows that trend. Lori Petty's snarky performance is perfect for the character, and the entire attitude of the movie fits the underground comics theme very well. It's like if China, Illinois was an action series instead of comedy. Basically, this is punk rock the movie. It's not for everybody. Like I said in the beginning, this is a cult film, but I found myself enjoying it after all this time. I probably saw this about half a dozen times back in the 90s, basically whenever it was on cable, and then mostly I forgot about it, but coming back to it, it was just as fun, if not more so due to a little bit of nostalgia. That being said, it isn't perfect or a masterpiece by any means. The script has some issues, and the plot has some holes. The entire thing was a mess, but you have to enjoy it for what it is. You have to enjoy it for the visual direction and the attitude more than the actual story, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. For example, at one point, after rescuing the little girl from being molested by Iggy Pop, instead of just getting the hell out of there, they stopped to have a musical number by singing an old Cole Porter song, complete with dancing whores and gigolos. Why? It makes no sense. It adds nothing to advance the plot, but it's really, really funny, so they did it. This works because at no point does the film take itself seriously, and you can't take it seriously when you watch it. My score may seem generous for a film with obvious flaws, but despite its flaws, Tank Girl is a fun spectacle that you should see at least once, and I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.